3, 2, 1.
It's just fired.
What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again. And John, how are we?
Fuming since last night, Michael. Do you know what? Me and you spoke. I know it's a transfer talk video, but I need to get this off my chest. We spoke about this earlier on, and we went through the fixtures that we've played at home this season. And it works out. We've won 5 league games. I'm not being funny. The season ends next month, and we've won 5 league games at home. It's poor. You know, and as you said, I asked you, you know, because you had the stats, how many goals have we scored in them games? And apart from the, you know, the beginning of the season where I think we scored 4 in one game and 3 or 4 in another, whatever it was, 5 West Brom, wasn't it? You know, they're all by 1 goal, Michael. It's not good enough. I don't know what, well, I do know it's the manager setting up not to lose. And basically, when we're 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go, he changes the whole shape of the team, which puts us under pressure. And it's exactly what happened last night, and we dropped 2 points.
Well, there you go. Yeah, welcome to the transfer videos. We'll be talking. Nah, I mean, if I talk about last night's game, it makes my blood boil because there were so many issues. So I think it's best to not talk about it. I'm going to take the positives, which was
That's the end of the video.
We had 15 shots last night, which is a high since West Brom at home. However, we didn't score any of those 15 shots, bar the hardest one, which was James Rodriguez. Bless his cotton socks. And he proved why he is the only world-class player in our football team. So, yeah. So, right, let's get into transfers then. Obviously, we have been linked. And I'm just going to get the ones that I think are a complete waste of time out of the equation. We've been linked with a player called Valerie. And I'm telling you now, he's not signing for Everton. He's currently a free transfer from Marseille. And I'm categorically telling you, there is no way that Carlo's going to sign anyone who we've not heard of before. So that one, you can may as well get on your little dustpan and brush under the carpet.
You got more chance to sign than my mum.
Honest to God,
Valerie.
Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Da, 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 da. No, he's a Marseille striker, 28 years old, free transfer. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Can
he score one-on-ones?
Oh, do you know what we said though? What we did say, just going back to last night's game for no reason whatsoever, but we said last night, if Richarlison had Calvert-Lewin's chances and Calvert-Lewin had Richarlison's chances, I think we'd have scored more goals. Because Richarlison's better on one-on-ones than Calvert-Lewin, and Calvert-Lewin's better in the air than Richarlison. And it's fucking snowing here.
Oh, it's brilliant. Sure, you haven't rubbed your head and it's dandruff.
Absolutely brilliant. Fucking hell. Jesus Christ, here we are. Right, so let's talk about some decent transfer news. This will probably be quite a short video because it's not like there's been absolutely tons. But Everton have been.
We both hate Everton at the minute.
Yeah, to be honest, I really wouldn't have recorded this video. I really wouldn't have done it.
I want the season to end, Michael.
Honestly, you're even lower than I am, aren't you?
Honestly, I just want the season to end because, you know, what's the fucking point? Sorry for swearing because we are going to try and curb it, but, you know, you can't help it. We're 8th in the league, and you know what? End the season now and just do away with Europa League because, you know what? Deep down, how many teams who want to, you know, challenge for the top of the Premier League and challenge for trophies, how many of them teams really want to be in that Europa League, Michael, when you really look at it? You know, you're playing Thursday, Sunday, then the cup competitions kick in. They haven't got a squad of players to put a proper bench out now in the Premier League games. So what's the chances of doing it in that competition? I don't want it. Just fucking blow the league now. Just give City the league because they've won it anyway and just finish where we finish and move on.
Brilliant. Brilliant. There you go. There you go, everyone. You did say right earlier, in my opinion. You know, earlier when you said you fed up of false dawns.
Well, yeah.
That was such a good term. That was. I must say, John, that was one of your most eloquent
But Michael,
moments.
I'm used to that. We're used to it, Michael. So it's not something that I haven't thought about or said to you in the past. You know, me, you, and every Evertonian are used to these false dawns now. You know, I got season ticket through my post a couple of seasons ago, and it said on it, nothing will ever be the same. Fucking nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
It's fucking worse.
I know. You know, and then we got, we were all made up. All right, we are made up with Bramley-Moore. Let's be honest about it. It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and it's what the club needs. Is let's be honest about it. But we were all made up. And we got Carlo Ancelotti, and I still am made up that he's our manager. There's not many clubs that can attract someone of that caliber, but he does not go blameless through these poor results, especially we've had at home. Some of the blame lands, it lies with him. It sits with him, Michael. And I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke up his ass because he's won trophies everywhere he's been. He's on £13 million a year or whatever it is. Listen, if a manager is making poor substitutions, which is costing us points in games, I'm going to say it. You've said that, and many Evertonians, I think, are starting to agree now and look at it like this. Some of his substitutions and his tactical decisions have been very poor this season, Michael. And I don't care whether it's Carlo Ancelotti, Marco Silva, or Ronald Koeman. If they're wrong, they're wrong.
Yeah, but I cannot sit here and argue with you. For the first time in a long time, you talk sense, John. I tell you what, it's scary, because if you really think about it, a lot of people have said about Fortress Everton for a long time, but even if you look back at last season, and the season before, Norwich beat us, Sheffield United beat us, Villa got a draw, even last season, Villa got a draw, Bournemouth, who got relegated, beat us 4-2 on the last game of the season. Everton have been pretty shit at home for quite a long time.
But why doesn't he just set up the same at home as what he is away? Because, you find a lot of clubs set up differently with Michael when you go away from home, because, it can be hostile with the fans. And, there's a lot of teams in the Premier League will be happy to come away from an away game with a point, to a certain degree. So set up like that at home, Michael, because we've got the squad of players. We've proved we can play. Dominic Calvert-Lewin has proved he can score. Richarlison's proved he can put a shift in. What is the fucking difference from that to playing at Goodison? It's the setup, Michael. He fucks about with the team. He fucks about with the tactics every home game. You've sat on here time, and I know this is a transfer video. We've gone completely off it, but listen, we're not signing fucking anyone, so we may as well just have a rant. Right. No, but you've said it, Michael, time and time again. Ben Godfrey cannot play on the right, and he takes Seamus Coleman off last night. Crystal Palace's goal come down that side after Seamus Coleman had been took off, and Ben Godfrey was there. He can't play there. So why do it? We can see it. You've said it many, many times, Michael. It stands out like a sore thumb. He cannot play to the right-hand side. He still puts him there.
Do you want me to put myself in for the assistant manager or something, John? Do you want me
fucking
there?
Manager?
Do you want me at the helm, John? Do you want me at the front of the ship, driving us into the Mersey, up the fucking Toffees, Bramley-Moore?
That's Bramley-Moore. Well, it's
Right.
Just frustrating. It's frustrating more because we're absolutely fantastic away from home. That's what frustrates me.
I know. 3 defeats all season away from home. That's it.
Honestly, God, if we played every game away from home, we'd be in the top 4 every year.
Well, if you look at the games that we've lost,
I tell you what, don't build a fucking Bramley-Moore. Just tell every team we'll play them twice at their place. Fuck it.
Oh, fucking hell. It does make me laugh. Actually, if you put our home form in perspective, and this is excluding the cup games, we lost to Man United, we've lost to Leeds, we've lost to Newcastle, we've lost to West Ham, we've lost to Fulham, we've drew with Palace, we've lost Burnley, we've lost to somebody else as well. We've lost to somebody else. I can't remember the other one. we have lost to somebody else. And you know, if you win 4 games out of them, which is Fulham, Burnley, Crystal Palace, and Leeds, Newcastle, right? That's 13 points that we would have more than now, which would put us in second,
third?
I think. Third or second, yeah.
But you know, it's one of them, Michael. We can't say ifs and buts, can we? Let's be honest about it. You know,
we can't.
Now I know what you're saying.
We can't. But when you base it over 38 games, you know, it's like when people have this argument. Oh, it's all right. It's the first game of the season. They'll get playing again. No, every single 3 points is important. Every single one, from game 1 to game 38, it's important. I don't care whether we're at home, away, in the fucking changing rooms, driving over the fucking channel. Doesn't matter where we are. We need 3 points. You know, the only time I don't want us picking up 3 points is when your drivers are fucking driving at 85 miles an hour, getting speeding fucking tickets or getting done for drink driving. I don't need any of that. But we need 3 points out of every single game, and we've got 9, in my opinion, cup finals left. Now, I said to you before the Burnley game, I said Everton needed roughly 21 points out of, I think it was 12 games at the time. I still stand.
10 games left.
I still stand by 21 points. We still need.
We've got to get 20. We've got to get 20 points from 10 games, Michael.
It's 9 games,
isn't it? 9 games. 20 points from 9 games. You know, so we can afford to drop 7 points. I'm not being funny. Are you confident that we can only drop 7 points from now to the end of the season?
No, John, because I don't know when our next win's coming from. Honestly, I don't. I'm worried about going to Brighton because I think Brighton are playing well.
Yeah,
said this, I'm worried about it.
And this is these 3 fixtures that we sat here a month ago and said possible 9 points there. Got 1 out of 6. And another thing to put fucking flames to the fire or fuel to the fire, whatever the fucking saying is, right? The football we're watching is absolute dog shit. It is. It's rubbish. And I tell you now, I said to you this morning, Michael, on the phone, I'm glad you haven't got, for your sake, to do a 250-mile round trip every other week to go and sit in Goodison Park to watch that shite. Because I feel sorry for you if you had to, Michael.
You did say that. You did say that.
Brighton play better football than us.
I remember you saying that against when we had Marco Silva as a manager and we lost to Sheffield United and Norwich. I remember you saying I feel sorry for you.
It's the same. You know, there's a saying about toxic Goodison when things aren't going Everton's way. Well, I'm not being funny. Can you imagine what Goodison would be with 5 home wins all season? Can you imagine what it'd be like in that place? It'd be like a fucking nuclear bomb. Never mind toxic.
Brilliant, fucking brilliant.
Oh, it would.
So look, obviously this is fucking. So let's talk about some transfers, right? Let's just talk about some transfers. Obviously, Everton need players. Now, the comment was made that Everton only need 3 or 4 players. I completely disagree with that. No. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to roughly, and we will be doing a tier list video for this, guys, so do bear with us. We are going to make a tier list video. Or one of us will, or I will, whatever. We will be making a tier list video. Where are our weaknesses? Like, seriously, if you go through that entire team, what is the urgent things that we need? And sort of really categorise it.
Well, let's be honest about it, Michael. We've gone on and on about we need a right back for such a long time. Now, I'm not being funny. I thought Mason Holgate done okay last night. I know he didn't play in the right back position, but a performance that he put in, it wasn't as bad as what it's been.
I'll tell you what. Sorry to butt in, John. The ball he puts through for Calvert-Lewin for that one-on-one chance. He plays a 70-yard ball, sort of head height, from defence to attack. Calvert-Lewin can easily run around that goalkeeper and make it 1-0 at the time. I think it would have been. It was such a good ball. Holgate did fine last night for me. He did really well for me.
One of his better games for a while. Now, I know we've been linked with Max Adams. I think that's going to happen. I do really think that will happen. But right back was urgent for a lot of people. Now for me, Michael, it's a striker. I've said this for so long. We need that out-and-out striker. It's hard to get a striker now who's going to guarantee you 25, 30 goals a season. But I'm telling you now, I don't think we've got that at the club. Then we can move on to the left-hand side. Is Richarlison a winger or is he a centre-forward? Because if he doesn't class himself as a left winger, we've got no one to play on the left. Then we're screaming out we need someone for the right. So that, instead of a Wobie. So there's right back, left wing, right wing, up front. That's without touching anywhere else in the midfield and the centre of the park. And Carlo Ancelotti reckons we need 3. There's 4 players without mentioning midfield.
And potentially changing the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and that is only bringing players in who are going to start every week, Michael. Honest to God, in my opinion, we need anything between 12 and 15 players, and it's not going to happen in one window, I know that. But for a spot-on 11, like Man City can do and Liverpool can do most weeks, even Man United to a certain degree, if we want a quality 11 every week and a good bench, because we've seen it this season so many times, Michael, we've had to put 2 keepers on the bench because the squad's been that poor. So there's many times...
We did it again last night. Yeah,
exactly. In a Premier League game, so we've got 2 keepers on the bench, and then you look at the bench. No disrespect to the kids who are on there, it's not their fault. But honestly, Carlo Ancelotti cannot come out and say we only need 3 players unless he's going to play the kids all next season, which he's not going to do. So for me, what's urgent? A striker.
Well,
it's gone from a right back now.
I'm glad you've brought up a striker, because we've been linked with 2 or 3 over the last couple of days. One being Belotti from Torino, a player that a lot of us know and have heard of in Serie A. Scores goals, probably hasn't had one of his most prolific seasons this season, but he's still a hell of a striker. I think
better than what we've got.
He's a finisher. He's a finisher. My only worry is, and this is, it might be unfair to say this, but my only worry is the fact that, again, he's not played in the Premier League before. And we've seen that with top strikers from other leagues in the world, i.e. Timo Werner at Chelsea, who just haven't cut it in the Premier League. That's my worry.
Look at the players who have come from abroad, because I'm not being funny. If we go through the Premier League now, what strikers is there? What strikers are in the Premier League now? We can go, well, we'll have him, he'll improve us.
Well, it's top tough. Strikers. Top.
Who top we'll get?
Danny Ings.
Well, he's apparently City are after him to replace Aguero, so if that's the case, we're not getting him. So Bamford. Then you have to look abroad. Well, yeah. Again, you said to me this morning, Michael, Bamford, for the way they're playing at the minute and stats and what have you, Bamford's doing better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and yet he's getting picked for the England.
In his all-round performances, I really like Bamford. I really like him. I think he's got a little bit of everything. He's got a little bit of the Harry Kane about him, but he's also got a little bit of the heading ability and stuff.
But this is why you have to go abroad and take the chance, Michael, because it's all right sitting here, and I agree with you. They haven't played in the Premier League, but look at the English players who've played in the Premier League and never played abroad and gone over and done it. It's the chance you have to take, Michael. In my opinion, 7, 8 times out of 10, if a striker's scoring in Europe in another league, if they're instinctive strikers, Michael, like Belotti is, they'll score anywhere. As long as you give them the service, they'll score anywhere. We haven't got that. Because for me, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is not an out-and-out striker, and he never will be.
Would you make a move for somebody like a Tammy Abraham or an Olivier Giroud or
Abraham? No. Giroud, we had the chance to sign him, and his missus put a stop on the move. Listen, Giroud scores goals. Is he the right side of 30?
No,
for us to sign him?
He's 34. I think he's quite.
I don't see. The only way I can see Everton bringing someone in like a Diego Costa or Olivier Giroud is to help Calvert-Lewin and to bring experience, Michael. But I don't think Everton will go after someone like you. I'm not dissing Giroud, by the way, because as I've just said, he does score goals whenever he's picked. You know, he knows where the goal is. But 34 year of age, I can't see Everton going for someone like him. Tammy Abraham, not consistent enough for me. Even when he plays, he's not consistent enough. But, you know, which big strikers are going to come to Everton, Michael, if we're not playing in Europe? It's hard. Why would the likes of Belotti, you know, leave there to when he could consistently probably plays in Europe to come to the Premier League and take that chance to play for Everton? It's hard.
And then we've got one out.
Thing.
We've got one out currently on loan.
Moise Kean.
Do you bring him back?
Well,
does he score one of those one-on-ones last night?
Yeah. Fucking Stevie Wonder scores one of them one-on-ones last night.
The worst one was the one with the Holgate through ball, because it literally, all he has to do is go to his right. All he has to do is
dragged it.
The ball.
He dragged his foot.
It's all he has to do. Instead of shooting first time and panicking, he literally needs to take one touch out of his feet to the right.
You ask about Moise Kean. I said this not long after he signed, Michael. And, you know, listen, I'm not one of these who I can turn around and say, I love proving people wrong, because I don't. Because if I'm proving people wrong, it means Everton aren't doing well, because I slagged that many players off. Do you know what I mean? But what I will say, I could see it early from Moise Kean. I don't think the Premier League suited him, and it turns out to be right, in my opinion. Would he come back to Everton? Well, Everton holds all the cards. He's contracted to Everton. But does he come back with the right attitude? Because he seems to have certainly found his goal scoring form again at PSG. You know, he's happy there. He's doing what he was took over there to do, which was to score goals. So if Everton put a stop on that move and bring him back, he'll probably spit his dummy out, because he probably doesn't want to be here. So what's the point? What is the point in having an unhappy player at your club? Because when you look at Richarlison, Michael, he looks unhappy. You know, what's the point in keeping these unhappy players? I don't care if they're brilliant players, Michael. If they're not happy and they don't want to play for the club, then what's the point? Because they're not going to give their all for you. I want players who will give 110% every week, who will run through a brick wall for you, who wear that blue shirt, Michael, and realise what it's like to play for Everton. And there's too many players there now. Richarlison is one. Moise Kean will probably be one if he come back. Don't realise what it's like. And this is what pisses me off, Michael. I want players there who are honoured to play for Everton Football Club. And there's certain players there who don't show it in their performance, who don't show it with their body language, you know. And like last night, you mentioned about the free kick where Richarlison took over. There's better players, there's better technically gifted players with the right foot to take that from that angle, to put in a better effort than what he did. But he was having none of it. What he said stood, and there was no one was going to get that ball off him. Our captain should have been over there and went, hang on a minute, you're not taking it. You are not taking it. Give it to Gylfi, give it to James, drop the ball and walk away. But they let him get away with it, Michael, because he's a big strop. That's all he is. He's a big baby. He's a big kid who spits his dummy out. And if it's not going his way, then he throws his toys out the pram, and I'm pissed off with it. There's too many players like that.
Fair enough. One thing I personally thought of Richarlison last night is, and I did say this to you, I actually don't think Richarlison was that bad last night in terms of his game. I thought defensively he did a good job. Yeah, defensively he did a good job. He did carry the ball forward for us when we needed him to. But you made this argument about 6 weeks. No, about 12 weeks ago. Me and you pretty much had a full-blown debate in the middle of a watch-along about Richarlison. And you simply said, it's fine him doing that, and it's great, and it helps the team out. But his job's to put the ball in the net or cross the ball for our strikers to put the ball in the net. And he did neither last night.
Well, he didn't play through the middle, did he? You know, as much as what he has been. Now, I'm not being funny. He was playing through the middle for a couple of games a couple of weeks ago, Michael. I think he scored 2 goals. Again, that's down to Ancelotti. If he's going to play him on the left-hand side, which I think it's pretty clear and it's pretty obvious, Richarlison would prefer to play through the middle. Now, we haven't got the squad to allow that. It's no good playing him on the left-hand side because, as you pointed out, Michael, his tackling back was really good, but he's not there for that. That's not really his job. When we played Mason Holgate, Michael Keane, Yerry Mina, Luca Dean, all across the back, and Mason Holgate, there's enough there to do that. So what he did, he performed well tackling back. I don't want to see him that end of that pitch, Michael. I really don't.
So Everton have been linked with Dybala from Juventus. Now, obviously, he's yeah, he's a player that could go to any team in the world.
Exactly.
What do you take it as? I remember the days when Everton used to get linked with players that you just sit there and think, are you having a laugh? I remember us getting linked with a washed out Sean Wright-Phillips. I remember us signing Anthony Gardner. I remember the days when we were linked with players that, no disrespect to those players, Everton at the time probably would have felt better than. And we've been linked with world-class players now on a consistent basis, Koulibaly, Dybala. Are we miles away from that?
It's changed. What you've just spoke about then, Michael, and years gone by where we were linked with them players and Everton probably thought they were bigger than them players. Football's changed now. It's all about that.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, I think we may get Koulibaly, which would be a statement. I honestly think, hands on heart, there's more of a chance of getting a Koulibaly than a Dybala. Right? I think that Dybala's not going to happen for me. I hope I'm proved wrong because he's a class player. I really, really hope I'm proved wrong. But in my opinion, we're not going to get someone like that. We're not. And I know we got James, but James had an injury record while he was playing for Real Madrid, and it seems like he's brought it with him. Dybala is going to be, when you look at, we'll put it into this perspective then. When Everton signed James Rodriguez, how many clubs were in for him?
One, I'm assuming. Us. I never heard of anyone else.
If Dybala's up for grabs, how many clubs are going to be in for him?
Yeah, a lot.
So you've got to put it into perspective, Michael. Age, injury record, how often he's been playing for his club at the time. For me, we're miles away from signing players like Dybala, and I hope I'm wrong. And this is no disrespect to James Rodriguez. Carlo Ancelotti was a big pull for him because he's managed him before. But I think we're a long, long, long way off, in my opinion, from attracting top players, more bigger than James Rodriguez. Do you know what I mean? I think James Rodriguez will be the biggest we sign for a few years. In my opinion, I hope I'm wrong, but that's just my opinion.
Do you think Alan Rodriguez, not necessarily Decore because he was at Watford, and not necessarily Godfrey because they were at Norwich, but do you think Alan and James not necessarily regret signing for Everton, but do you think they'd be further? Both of these players are 29, 30 years old. Do you think they were guaranteed European football when they signed?
I think it was a big pull. I think the project was a big pull. We go into Bramley Moore play. I mean, when you look at their ages, they probably won't be at the club anyway when we go into Bramley Moore. But I think they probably said, help us build the team and challenge for honours to take to Bramley Moore. Obviously, the money helps as well. Again, both players have played for Carlo Ancelotti. So I think that was the big thing. Players get on well with Carlo Ancelotti. You're seeing that at Chelsea. They were gutted when he got sacked. The Napoli players, I think they went on strike. They threatened to go on strike when Napoli sacked Carlo Ancelotti. So it's obvious he's got the respect. It's a big pull having Carlo Ancelotti, because if you flip it on the other side, Michael, would Marco Silva manage to get James Rodriguez?
No.
So that's the difference. So that's it. So you've answered my question. It's not, do you want to play for Everton? Do you want to play for Carlo Ancelotti? That's the difference, you see. So it's tough, Michael. I don't think they regret it. Ask me that question in 12 months' time at the end of next season.
Yeah, well, Next season could be a very interesting season.
Bigger than this one. Massive.
One last thing from me, John. And yeah, we haven't really spoken about transfers too much today, but sometimes it's good to have a little bit of a chat about the game. Everton's summer will have to be massive. Now, obviously, we're still 9 games into this season, but we've seen in the past Everton have signed players almost for the sake of signing players. Josh King, I think, fits nicely into that category.
I don't think that was an Ancelotti signing, Josh King, to be fair.
Iwobi from Arsenal, I think that fits into that category as well. Do you think Carlo Ancelotti will accept that from Brands? Because we've all heard that Brands is meant to have signed a new deal, but it's not been announced. And he's meant to only have 3 months left on his contract at this point.
I don't think he's signed the contract. I think Bashiri is really, really unsure about Marcel Brands. He doesn't know what to do. Honestly believe that. I don't know. Which, if that's the case, it's poor with a month to go in the season, Michael, and you've got the European Championships coming on, so we need some stability with the director of football, whether he's going to be there or not. Are we bringing another one in, or has Carlo Ancelotti got full pelt on the whole transfer situation?
Because the thing is with Marcel Brands as well, is every so often you'd hear him talk or you'd hear him release a statement.
Very quiet.
Yeah.
Well, he hasn't even come out and really spoke about Bramley Moore since that got given the go-ahead, and he used to.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say it's worrying, it's not, because I can take or leave whether Marcel Brands stays or goes, Michael. I really can. I've said this many, many times on here and to you personally, privately. It wouldn't bother me if Everton didn't have a director of football. And let Carlo Ancelotti have the full reins and do it all and go and get the players he wants. Instead of saying to someone, go and get it, and then Marcel Brands having to sell the club to these players. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't bother me if we haven't got a director of football, but something needs to be sorted if he hasn't signed this contract already, because the season ends next month. And as I said the other week on here, you've got to get deals done early, or at least a gentleman's handshake or something in place for the transfer to happen as soon as possible. Because if these players who we're linked with start having absolute worldies in the European Championships, clubs just come in and snap them off, yeah? So the deals need to be done. And that's what makes this summer transfer, Mark, even more important, because the deals have got to be done early. They've got to be.
Are you worried about any of our players leaving in the summer who you don't want to leave?
I'll give you 2 names who we had this conversation again this morning, who I find are saleable assets, which is Luca Dean, and he hasn't long signed a contract, so I don't think Luca Dean goes, to be fair. And obviously Ben Godfrey's not going to go anywhere. The other 2 assets who we could possibly get money for, forget James because of his age, are Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
You're on about profit. You're on about profit, aren't you? Because you haven't mentioned like Michael Keane or Yuri Mina, because we get money for them, but we wouldn't get more money. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I'm talking about players who wouldn't be asked if we lost. And I'd be asked if we lost Luca Dean, and I'd be asked if we lost Ben Godfrey. Wouldn't be too fussed if we lost Michael Keane. Wouldn't be too fussed if we lost Yerry Mina. But our 2 other big assets are Richarlison, and for me, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because he has been linked with Man United over the past couple of weeks. I think Arsenal were linked with him as well. You know, he is getting picked for the England team now, which puts his value up. Would I be asked losing Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison on this season's show? And no. And I'll probably get shot down for that. But it's my opinion. And as I said before, talking about Richarlison, I want people at the players at the club who want to play for the club and who will break a sweat and will run through a brick wall. Don't think Richarlison would do that. I like Calvert-Lewin as a person. He likes playing for Everton, from what you can see. You know, we get gutted when we get beat. The service has been poor to him for the last couple of weeks.
He come
But
out today as well.
Is he good enough to consistently get us up challenging for top 4 and trophies as our striker? No, he's not.
Yeah, you made a statement 3 months ago, which I completely disagreed with at the time. And you said he wasn't a complete striker. And technically in the air, I think he's the best striker in the Premier League. In the air. In the air. Heading a ball. In the air. Best striker in the Premier League. When he's one-on-one, or he's got to think before he shoots, it's not great. Now, I'm not even saying that can't be developed. I'm not saying it can't. But the people around him aren't even necessarily the right people to be around him to do that, because Duncan Ferguson was brilliant in the air, and you can see that with Calvert-Lewin, but he wasn't a one-on-one goal scorer, really. From what I remember of Duncan, you'll know Duncan a little bit better than me.
Yeah,
so the person I'd want doing one-on-one practicing with Calvert-Lewin is Sharper, who is at the club.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
And if so, obviously, look, fair enough. If an offer come in for Calvert-Lewin, how much would it be for you to let him go?
Well, I mean, you know, you'd have this conversation 18 months ago, Michael, and you'd start talking about what players are going for, what players go for. You think, fuck, he's not worth that. But we all know what this pandemic will have done to football clubs' funds.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's talk about there hasn't been a pandemic, right? And clubs are still spending stupid money on bang average players, right? You probably get anything between 35 and 45 million pounds for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Michael, because he's young. He's just broke onto the international stage. So that's what you're looking to get for him. Would I take 40 million for him all fucking day?
Would you? You see, I think you probably get
day.
I think you get more than that. But I base that against Moyes Keane, where we're hoping for 50. But I'm not equally disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with your argument. I'm not. If Everton want to be a top team, they need a top striker. And I am not sitting here saying Calvert-Lewin can't be that striker. I'm really not. You know, he scored 15 goals last season. He's scored 19 this season. Few of those are for England, different competitions, etc. Fine. But we need 20, 25
scored
goals.
14 in the league, I think.
Yeah. We need 20. And one of those was a hat-trick.
Yeah.
You know,
Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't give you the 25, 30 goals a season, what propels you into the top 4. If you look at Sadio Mane, if you look at Salah, at the other lot, you know, Harry Kane, even Son's capable of scoring over 20 goals. He's not an out-and-out striker. Aguero in his prime. You know, they're the sort. I'm not saying we're going to get them. Jamie Vardy, for example, Michael. Look how many goals Jamie Vardy scored in the season. Leicester won the league. You know, Calvert-Lewin is not, and in my opinion, how old's Calvert-Lewin? 22, 23, is he?
I think he's 24.
Right, 24. When you're a 24-year-old striker, if you can't score one-on-ones, if he doesn't learn how to do that within the next 12 months, he never will. He never will. Because then you become to a stage in your footballing career where, and I know players come out and say, I'm learning every day. When you're a striker, that should be instinct, Michael, that you can score one-on-ones. If you want to be a top, out-and-out striker, you should be able to score one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Because you look at the top strikers that we've seen in the Premier League over the years gone by, Michael, right? From a very young age, who have gone, you know, and stayed in the Premier League and won trophies throughout the career as they've aged. From day one, they've been able to score headers, free kicks, penalties, one-on-ones. Your Michael Owens, your Robbie Fowlers, your Sharpies, as I say, I know he was before the Premier League. Harry Kane does it now. Ruud van Nistelrooy, Dwight York, Andy Cole, Alan Shearer, Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp. The list goes on and on and on. So if you want to look at top out Lukaku, yeah. If you want to look at top out and out strikers, you compare Dominic Calvert-Lewin to them, and he's not an out and out striker. That's why we need a quality centre forward who either is going to play up front with him or replaces him, because he's not in the mould of them players I've just named, Michael. All them players were out and out, all round, top quality strikers from a very young age. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's 24 now and doesn't score one-on-ones.
Yeah, you can't argue with that. One thing I will say in Calvert-Lewin's defence, just because, as you rightly say, and you said at the start, I do like Calvert-Lewin. I like his attitude. I like his mentality. I actually quite like the fact he's come out today. He's put his head above the fucking water and he's gone, look, I should have scored last night and I'm sorry I didn't. But he's missed loads of one-on-ones like Man United, Brighton at Goodison. I remember numerous ones last season. He misses a lot of one-on-ones. I happily say to Calvert-Lewin, lead the line next season for me. Go again. I do. But you are right. I do bring in another striker in the summer. I absolutely bring in another striker in the summer.
Do you know what would be really good for Everton to push forward? Right? Is play two up top. Right? Whether consistently every week, week, either Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Dominic Calvert-Lewin and somebody else. And say to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, right, every time we've got the ball out wide or we've got a corner or a set piece, get in that box for the crosses. And then
which is what was happening at the start.
Yes. But then you'd have a centre forward next to him, like a Jamie Vardy, who can play off the shoulder. Gives you two options then, Michael. When you've only got one.
Which is what them two were doing at the start of the season when we was playing 4-4-2. That's what them two were doing.
And who's changed it?
Yeah.
You know, go and get, I'm not saying get a Jamie Vardy, but get a Danny Ings like striker, get a Jamie Vardy striker, the littler one with a burst of speed. Because I said to you this morning, Michael, everyone talks about how fast Dominic Calvert-Lewin is. Yeah. He's fast once he gets going. But for that initial burst of pace, he's not fast there. Because how many times did you say on the stream last night, Michael, get in front of your man, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. When the ball's coming over, he needs that burst of pace to get round in front of his man. He's not fast enough for that. But if you put a through ball to him and he's shoulder to shoulder with most of the defenders in the centre halves in the Premier League, he will eventually catch up to them and get the ball when it's a straight foot race. But that bang, he hasn't got it to get in front of the defender. That's why if you get another centre forward and who can do that, someone with a burst of pace, say to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you're the aerial threat. You feed off the balls coming into the box. Then you say to someone like, for example, Danny Ings or Jamie Vardy, someone like that. Forget the dead ball situation. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's going to take the defenders out the way. Then we'll play the through ball to you and you use your pace to get onto the end of it. So it gives you two options then, Michael, to hurt teams. When you play Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front, you haven't got much options at all.
And he's been isolated for the last few weeks as well. I mean, you can't even. It's not like you can sit here and completely blame it's not like I can sit here and completely blame Calvert-Lewin, because I can't. Because if he hadn't scored 14 goals this season, I think we'd be in a bit of a mess, to be honest.
The thing is though, like I said to you last night with the team selection, Michael, it was nice to see James there, because that will stop Dominic Calvert-Lewin dropping back to look for the ball, because he's got that quality midfielder to play the ball to. And we fucking done that, and look what happened.
Yeah.
So, what you do, I don't know. For me, we need an out-and-out striker, just to finish the video. Ideally, Dominic Calvert-Lewin stays and we play two up top, which was for the reasons I've just said. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But
and maybe that teaches Calvert-Lewin as well. Maybe it helps him. Because he hasn't had anyone. We've all sat here saying Calvert-Lewin this, Calvert-Lewin that. I mean, we both did it last night in the stream. But look who Calvert-Lewin has had to learn from over the years. No one. He's had no one.
He's been on his own, hasn't he? Let's be honest about it. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin doesn't play up front, who does?
Richarlison. Certainly won't be Josh King. You don't fancy him? Weren't even his signing.
I don't think it was his sign. I think it was Marcel Brands that panicked by because he couldn't get another centre forward that Carlo had asked for. No way on God's given earth is Carlo Ancelotti getting someone in for 6 months and giving them the money that they've paid Bournemouth and giving him wages. And I think he's played something like 127 minutes since he's been there in January. 127 minutes of football. No way that's Carlo Ancelotti's signing. When we needed the goal last night, he doesn't bring him on. Now, I'm not being funny. Any player, any manager, if you've got a manager and you need a striker to go and get you a goal and the manager rates you and fancies you to do that, you bring them on.
Carlo, for me, what Carlo got wrong last night is he went defensive. When Everton really needed to keep the ball away from Eze, Zaha, Benteke, Bashwari, Ayub, when they needed to keep the ball away from them five, the only way you do that is by keeping the ball in the Crystal Palace final third, which Coleman and James Rodriguez, and as a result, Sigurdsson, who I thought linked up quite well with James, the same as Gomez when he was on. That's what they were doing. They were keeping the ball in at least the Palace half where they don't hurt us. Soon as them two players come off, and Gabami,
as soon as them two players went off, Michael, I knew they were going to score, Palace. I knew.
We said it on the stream. As soon as Coleman went off. No, as soon as Coleman went off, I remember as soon as James went off, I went, why? Now, obviously, if he's signalled to come off, fair enough. I can't really argue with that. But the Coleman one, I don't get. But
massive game on Monday. And again, we've said this again. We go again Monday.
And why stick Gabami in for 15 minutes when he hasn't played in 587 matches, days, whatever it fucking is? Why stick him in when he ain't got the full? Yeah, when he hasn't got the, he hasn't got the legs at the minute. He hasn't played competitive football. You're 1-0 up at home. Why stick him in? You'd have been better off if you wanted to stick someone in. You'd have been better off sticking one of the younger lads in, or an Nkunku in, who has played minutes, who has played in a under-23 game, or a Premier League game, or a Carabao Cup game, who was probably a bit more up to speed. Yes, Gabami
that is another mistake that Ancelotti done for me. You've played football, Michael. I've played football at a good level, like yourself. When you've been out injured and you get brought on towards the end of the game, how long does it take you to actually get up to match speed in the game, to warm up, to get your muscles? It's a good 10, 15 minutes, Michael, when you get brought on as a sub to get into the game. What is the point of bringing a player on who's been out for 18 months, 2 years, and giving him 15 minutes when he's cold? What is the point in that?
There wasn't
and this is no dig at Gabama, because we can't sit here and have a pop at him and say he was shit when he come on, because he's been out for 2 years and he got 15 minutes. But I don't get the substitution. I don't. He brought nothing to the game.
You bring him on when you're 3-0 up, not 1-0.
Not 1-0. And this is exactly what we spoke about this morning, Mike. Carlo Ancelotti, for me, especially at home, is happy to win 1-0 and sit on it. Or when the opposition pull it back to 1-1, he's happy to then sit on it so we get at least a point. He sets up not to lose, and that's it. It's not good. It's not good enough. And I'm gonna, it probably sounds like I'm having a pop at Carlo when Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison missed them chances. Yet they were both poor for missing them chances. But the substitutions fucked it for me, because I think I know James signalled to come off, but again, I said to you, Michael, their goal come down the side of Seamus Coleman before he got took off. Seamus Coleman stays on the pitch. Palace may not score. And then we're thinking, oh, fucking hell, Ancelotti's done well keeping Seamus Coleman on there. What a move that was to take James off. The Seamus Coleman one for me was the biggest one.
Yep.
So there you go, folks. Welcome to our Tuesday afternoon rant.
Yeah, thanks for watching Talking Transfers, where we've talked about fucking nothing but no transfers. Jesus Christ.
50 minutes.
Fucking hell. Unbelievable. I'm surprised my phone's still charged. Guys, yeah, we're going to leave it there. Obviously, thank you ever so much for watching. As always, it's been a pleasure. And I don't know when the next video is this week. I just don't know. Well, fucking hell. It's constant at the minute. It's just constant. I think there might be another one tomorrow. I can't remember what I've promised, what I've said to people. So if I've asked you to come on the channel this week, please message me. Please let me know.
Yeah, if there's any breaking news or anything, or stadium news, we will be right over. But I'm expecting that to air.
Yeah,
I reckon the next month. Yeah, I reckon you might see a spade in the ground.
Yeah, we can hope. Guys, I'm leaving it there. Have a good one. My phone's about to die. See you later. Peace.
Cheers, folks.